Oh, what is up everyone? This is OJ over here from PlayerEssence and welcome to a bonus Sunday video for the Nintendo Switch. So a lot of you guys pointed this out to me on Twitter and various other media formats about how Nintendo Switch is probably going to be using the Pascal architecture for the Tegra chip that they're using. And the reason why this came about, again, actually this has been out there, but a really famous Japanese journalist who's gotten other things right in the past basically said that today, so a lot of people are reporting on it. So let's go ahead and get right into the article here from WCCF Tech. So the Nintendo Switch Nvidia Pascal Architecture, Tegra could help Switch evolve, says Japanese journalist. Now this is probably a video that's more in tune with what Dr. Trey would do as far as what he knows, so definitely go to him. I'm pretty sure he'll have plenty of things to say about this because I think he's talked about it before. I'm just going to talk about this myself and kind of what I know, limited from just doing a little bit of research and looking at some of the comments that people have wrote and all of that. But let's get into the article here. So according to the famous Japanese gaming journalist, the Nintendo Switch will likely use the Nvidia Pascal Parker architecture for its GPU, and the Tegra chip inside the platform could help the Switch evolve just like the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. So the news comes from the famous Japanese journalist Nishikawa Zenji, who has written an article about Nintendo Switch and its possible specs on the Japanese website 4Gamer. Zenji also predicted that Sony would introduce an enhanced version of the base PlayStation 4 several years ago. While Nintendo and Nvidia have confirmed that the Nintendo Switch will use a custom Nvidia Tegra chip, the exact specs of the platform weren't revealed. Nintendo will likely reveal these during its special Nintendo Switch presentation in January 2017, but for now, we're just left guessing. The article from Zenji is written in Japanese, but we have done our best to translate his post. There's quite some interesting stuff in the article on 4Gamer, and I highly suggest to read it by running it through a translator. According to Zenji, however, it's likely that the custom Tegra chip inside of the Nintendo Switch is based on the Nvidia Pascal Parker architecture. This is due to the fact that Nintendo plans to launch the Nintendo Switch in March 2017, and the latest Tegra generation in present time is the Parker technology. Some might argue that the Switch could use Nvidia Volta tech as well, but Nintendo isn't known for using the latest technology. Of course, the Tegra Maxwell architecture is also a possibility, but this seems far-fetched due to the 20nm SoC. Zenji notes that there are no indications that Nintendo will opt for the Maxwell architecture within the Switch. So this is also a tweet from Takashi Mochizuki from the Wall Street Journal. Interesting, famous Japanese writer says Nintendo Switch likely using Pascal, not Volta. So Zenji also writes that the custom Nvidia chip will feature a floating performance point of around 1 T-flops, and according to the Japanese journalist, there is almost no possibility that the Switch will perform above 1.5 T-flops, single precision floating point performance, due to the battery drive inside of the Switch. Takashi Mochizuki says Switch could keep evolving with advance of Tegra itself, just like the PS4 and PS4 Pro. So that's another interesting tidbit in the article in Zenji's claim that the Tegra chip inside the Nintendo Switch will allow the platform to keep evolving just like Sony did with the PS4 and PS4 Pro, AMD Jaguar x86 64 8-core CPU. So of course they say at the end of it you can take his article with a grain of salt. It's still 100% rumor, kind of speculation-ish, but it is interesting to see kind of what they're trying to say here, just because it kind of falls in line with the size of it, the 20nm SoC, as far as what architecture they're going to use. He's right about Nintendo never really using the top of the line when it comes to their tech, so Volta might be out of there, and Maxwell, maybe because of the size, is probably not going to be used. But I thought this was really interesting because there was actually one more comment that I wanted to read, and I wanted to get you guys' opinion on this. There was a user in this same article that wrote a comment, and he said, "This article is just an interpretation of an interpretation, but to even speculate on the T-flop under the limit of the Switch single precision at this point based on both an unknown battery and an unknown chip in existence is futility. No doubt Pascal Tegra won't be the full 4 T-flops of single precision it's capable of, even in console form, but it could easily do over 1 T-flop in its mobile form at 720p 60 frames per second, and 2.5 T-flops as a console. 1080p is 225% the pixel count of 720p. It most certainly will run 1080p in console form. So just an interesting comment that someone wrote down there. In addition to that, I wanted to read one comment that was also on Go Nintendo. So one person said, "Can you care to explain this to me who was less tech savvy with all this tech talk?" So then another user wrote, Pascal is a new generation. Not only can it go faster than the old one, it also uses less energy to do so. If it's the T-flops talk that confuse you, it's just a measure of how many operations the GPU can make each second, but it's hard to use it in comparison to the GPUs itself because the GPU can have special shortcut operations to do the job for a couple of others, making some actions speedier, making the number of inaccurate measures. So interesting. All this stuff is interesting. All these comments and what people are saying. It's cool that it's probably going to use the Pascal architecture. I think that's obviously better from what people are kind of saying, and I'm kind of gathering from that as far as its efficiency and its performance. And there was also one thing that I saw on one of Dr. Trey's videos, but he said that it's just kind of like he's not sure, or if it's a rumor. Maybe one of you guys can clear it up, or some of you guys can clear it up to me in the comment section below about how Nvidia versus AMD, the teraflop performance isn't 100% comparable because Nvidia's teraflops, or Nvidia's architecture, works a little bit harder than AMD, so you get a little bit more performance out of each one. So that's what he was saying on there, but it's not 100% known or anything like that. So it's not a direct one-to-one comparison as far as 1 teraflop with AMD versus 1 teraflop with Nvidia. So that's just another thing to take into consideration. Overall, it seems like it's going to be right around the power of the Xbox One and PS4. Obviously, PS4 is higher. PS4 Pro is going to be a lot higher than that. But it's going to be interesting to see what Nintendo does forward, because he says that it can evolve. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with what a lot of people were saying beforehand. Like, hey, the Nintendo Switch can just be the beginning. There could be add-on supplemental computing device that can boost the performance of this even more. And I think that Nintendo could introduce that later down the line. So it's not something that you're going to have at launch, but it's something that you can get later in the future that can increase the power of the system, in addition to potentially RAM, storage space, lots of things, because that dock is quite big for something that just USBs and HDMI port to hook up to the TV. So yeah, I'm actually really interested to see what Nintendo does, because it can evolve. And I really want to see what they do with the supplemental computing device, because if you remember, that's one of the few patents that we've seen that's pretty much ready to go. Nintendo made sure that was out and ready, so that could be something that they introduce at the Nintendo Switch January presentation. Like, hey, this is going to be able to evolve. This platform is going to be able to do more things. And it also goes hand in hand with what Tatsumi Kimishima said about the platform basically having add-on hardware. And that's what it could be. You can get a dock. SCD comes with, let's say, like another 100 gigabytes of space and does something else, and it just increases the performance of the system. That's definitely something that's possible, and based on everything that Nintendo has patented and Nintendo has said, even from the president, it definitely falls in line, especially with this saying that, hey, this chip can evolve. I'm really excited to get all of this information, and I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, that wraps it up for this one. Go ahead and hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more videos like this going forward in the future, and subscribe to PlayerEssence for more news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks, and everything in gaming. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next video. Peace.